Okay, Verizon says it is 6:30. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have the agenda here. The only change is going to be to add the October Supervisor's report to the November Supervisor's report. We need to approve the vote.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, communications to the board. We had a few things that came in from different vendors. For some reason this time of year, everybody wants to sell us something. The balance of it, we did have in early November a flurry of communications for FOIL requests and things of that nature. These go to all of you. Okay, that's your invoice. You agreed to pay for our expenses. You have a detailed copy of all of the attorney's expenses there.
Yep.
Okay. Next, before I open the public hearing, is there any member of the public that would like to comment on any of the agenda items? Okay, seeing none. All right, I'm now opening the public hearing on the on local law number 4, the general business overlay district that is set for Plank Road. If any member of the public would like to comment on the general business overlay district, then you can set the sign-up sheet up here on the table and sign in, and we'll take comments.
House neighbor, 2415 Plank Road, the neighboring property to that overlay. I guess I'm trying to understand what it does. And I know that Bryce had gone to the zoning board for his commercial rezoning was denied. I'm just curious what the overlay does for him and how it affects the neighboring properties that aren't part of the commercial overlay.
So the overlay is a way of allowing something to happen in that particular area without changing the zoning that underlies it. This is sort of the litmus test to see if the general public is in favor of having the auto shop back open and the 5 properties to the south included in this general business district.
Is it a forever thing, or is it
I
understand how it affects? Because I guess let me just preface with saying I have no issues with Bryce, and I know you're wonderful neighbors. My concern has always been what happens with me.
Was an existing law that had lapsed because it was changed for 1 year. Was your action to address changing the law for that one particular property?
no.
Okay, could you tell me the other reasons as to why that changed?
As to why what changed?
Well, I think many of us are sympathetic to the young couple if they run a nice business, and you're neighbors, and you don't have a problem with that. But changing a law for just one parcel is called spot zoning.
That's why we're not. That's why it's a link of parcels.
I agree. That's why it's a link of parcels. But is there any other reason why you've linked it?
So we received a petition from the 5 parcels for the overlay.
That's interesting.
That's what we did. And so we're acting on the petition from the 5 parcels.
Okay? And why didn't the district that you're proposing go all the way to the intersection to the south? It stopped with one additional parcel.
Because the folks who own that weren't available to sign it. And we did not get a separate letter from them or anything. That's what it was.
Okay. Was the petition self-generated, or did you go?
I wrote it.
You wrote the petition,
Yes,
and
sir.
had neighbors sign it?
Yes, sir.
That's good. That's good. Okay. The document says that approval of projects in this area would be subject to a special use permit approved by the zoning board of appeals. Okay? Why wouldn't any proposal go in front of the planning board?
It would.
It doesn't say that. It says by this law, it only be approved by the zoning board of appeals. For a group of people who don't have a lot of experience necessarily in the intricacies of the law, we've got a very good planning board. The fact that they are omitted from this document, I think, is a mistake.
I don't think that the general business overlay district has to go to the planning board. If it is adopted, then Bryce does have to go to the planning board to open the business. And all of the different things that go with that.
That's not what the document says.
It is. It says here that all commercial business use undertaken in the general business use overlay zone shall be governed by the provisions of Article 6 General Business Use Districts. So you have to follow all the requirements that are in general use.
And did I see, Mike, in our notes back to the board, this went before the county planning board and there was approved by them? Is that correct, what I saw in my notes?
Correct.
Yes, I talked to Heather Ferraro about that, and I said, well, what I was concerned about was that document including references to actual changes in the zoning law. And she says, no, it shouldn't do that. If it did that, she said, I didn't see that. We talked about an overlay district. So the issue is really a question of overlay district, but not changing the law underneath it. Okay? So I would think an overlay district might work, but the way this is written, it talks about going in and actually changing the wording in the zoning law, which is not what an overlay district does.
Well, George, I disagree. This local law is meant to be incorporated into the zoning law, okay? That's the place where it's going to be recorded. Okay, so future people who want to see and understand what we did, what it means, read about it, follow it, it's going to be in the law, okay? We're not changing.
It's a separate law that lays on top of the
And the law is meant to incorporate it into our zoning.
Well, that can be challenged. And Heather Ferraro says, yes, that could be challenged. Okay? Finally, have you done anything on seeker or environmental impact statement?
So the seeker is available this evening, but we've not done it yet.
The seeker process would not take place until after the close of public hearing, or need to be any public comment. And just for purposes of explaining here, the way to establish an overlay zone is to change your zoning code to incorporate those provisions. That's what this does. So it does not stand alone. It is not separate from the town zoning code. It can't exist that way. If there was any understanding from Heather Ferraro to that extent, it must have been miscommunicated to her. She and I have talked about these things many, many times over the years. This is the way that you establish an overlay district. And what it does is it is a modification to a certain area that has an underlying zoning classification. So in this instance, properties are located in the agriculturally zoned district. And the overlay sits on top of that district and potentially impacts these 5 properties, but it does not change the permitted uses that are allowed within the entirety of the agricultural zoning district throughout the town. And then in order for one of those properties to avail itself of the benefit of the overlay, they have to apply using the same principles that are in the general business zoning district classification for approval. And we've added the enhancement that in addition to site plan approval, they have to receive a special use permit approval from the zoning board of appeals. So this builds a provision or mechanism into the law without, at this point, approving any projects. Any project that will be considered under this overlay would have to go before the planning board for site plan approval, and before the zoning board of appeals for special use permit approval. So it follows essentially the process that any business in the town would have to follow. But it's staying with a specific area that is otherwise in an agriculturally zoned district under your town code. I don't know if that helps at all.
Have you identified who's talking?
So,
Jim Campbell, I'm the town attorney.
the disembodied voice is Jim Campbell.
Thank you.
Well, I take exception to the maybe improper communication with Heather Ferraro. The real key here is that an overlay district does overlay the existing law, but the existing law doesn't change. It can be used as has been discussed. But when you get into changing the law, we have an additional problem because a town cannot change zoning laws that are contrary to an adopted comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan serves as the backbone for local zoning laws, and the zoning must conform to this plan. If a zoning law is adopted in accordance with the comprehensive plan, it will remain valid. So when I saw that sections were saying you're going to go and incorporate it into the zoning law, you are changing the zoning law that's contrary to the laws that exist in the state of New York, and it could potentially open an Article 78 against the town. Now, I discussed that with Heather at some length, and she said, yes, I understand. You are correct in your quoting of the law. So, in the summary, I believe that the public notice is incorrect, and that may have caused some people to come or not come to the public hearing. The zoning overlay change, as written, is an change to existing law, which is not allowed. You should have already been working on your comprehensive plan. It was done in 2008. We have talked about this before. Mike, I know you're working on it, and I think that's great. But it is a process that provides an adequate review, not only for the elected officials, but all in the community, because they'll have a chance to answer the surveys that go along with it. There's no other development that is currently forecast, and the extension of the 4 other parcels nicely fits to be just under 10 acres, because when you hit 10 acres, you have to do seeker and an EIS statement. Maybe that was just the way it happened to work, but that's what it is, except it seemed that the board, in making this law, is arbitrary in some way. If it's confirmed that there was some arbitrary decisions made, then the seeker and an EIS would have to be done. And finally, the state law that I just quoted that said any change without an updated comprehensive plan change that is not consistent with your comprehensive plan could be challenged in the court of law. So with all of that, my suggestion is, I'm not against you doing what you're doing, but I think the community has to do things right. And I think what you're doing right here is wrong. And I would suggest delaying the vote on this and then doing it properly with the proper notification.
So you're saying that the town lawyer doesn't know what he's talking about? That's what you're actually saying?
He just said, I didn't.
Well, maybe you know, George.
I'm the author of the chairman of the committee that wrote the comprehensive plan for the.
We're trying to get people in this village and town, and that's why we want these people there. We want people to come to Lima.
I understand that. I just.
Way back when you were on the planning board, you said, welcome to Lima, but don't build here. So don't give me your crap, because I was on that board.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but I was. You gotta get tired of this. We wanna grow in Lima, we don't care. These guys are gonna take over. We're gonna grow in this town. And not be dead. If people go over to Honey Falls and shop in Lima, it's gotta end. I never see you in the Lima game.
Yes.
Buying stuff there once in a while, yeah. So, that's enough.
I
Civil discussion, please.
Well, I'm not the public know how I feel.
Speak to someone
And I don't have to worry about it. I won't be here next year, will I?
All right, folks. So, Jim, I think the thing we need to address is the actual advertisements. Did we advertise for an entertainment district?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like the thing in the newspaper did say entertainment.
Jim, it was in the newspaper and right on our Town of Lima website. I copied it today, and it states, a local law to amend Chapter 250, Article 9 of the zoning ordinance of the Town of Lima, specifically to add a new section 250-49, Plan Development-Entertainment, PDE District.
Yeah, so that, we would need to go ahead and republish and
Yes.
before the public hearing. So
Okay.
the whole purpose of the public hearing, of course, is to inform people in the public to come and express comments either in favor of or against a particular proposition, in this case, a proposed local law. So absolutely, if that's what appears in the paper, then we need to correct that. And reschedule the public hearing.
Okay, so at this time then, I'm closing the public hearing, and we will have to try again next time.
Make one additional comment. Someone asked, who I was. I was the chair of the comprehensive plan committee, and I was chairman of the board of the planning board for many years. Contrary to what may have been said about what happened for all those years, I am not against development. I'm not against young people running this. And I'm not against the neighbors who are here to support them. What I'm saying is that this board, through an inadvertent error, and possibly a need to rewrite the law that they're proposing, has to go back to the table, republish, and then have a serious discussion, maybe with Heather Ferraro or someone else at the county, as to what an overlay district versus an actual change in the zoning law. Because an actual change in the zoning law is not allowed if it's inconsistent with your comprehensive plan. An overlay district is allowed.
Okay. Moving on. Did everybody get a chance to review Charlie's report? It was emailed out. There's no need to go further or anything. If you have questions.
have a motion to approve both the October and November supervisors report.
Probably should keep it as each.
Okay, motion to approve the October supervisors report.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried.
Motion to approve the November supervisors report.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried. Did everybody have a chance to review the November 4th town board meeting minutes?
Motion to approve the November 4th town board minutes.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried. Did everybody have a chance to go through the November 18th special town board meeting minutes?
Yes, and I see it was added, that Sean was added to that one, I believe, in the minutes. Was it that meeting? Yeah. So, as amended, I'll make a motion to approve those.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? Steve, you settled the abstract?
Turn them all in. Yes.
Motion to approve the abstracts.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried. Okay, Water District number 5.
Eric Weiss is here from CPL. We'll give the board and public an update on where we stand with District 5 design. In mid-November, or early November, we submitted draft plans to the Livingston Water and Sewer Authority. We subsequently took a tour with them, so we visited the entire site, looking at the proposed layout, looking at sides of the road, looking at difficulties with certain things like the City of Rochester, old transmission mains, new transmission mains on Pond Road. So it was a very productive meeting. Mark also joined us to have those discussions. So we spent the better part of a day. So where we are right now is the plans, what we call in the 70% stage. So they're not finalized yet. The next step is to take those plans, contract documents, those specifications, base design report, get all of those submitted to the permitting agencies. So we want to get all the comments from the DOT, DEC, County Highway Department. There'll be county planning. We also did have a discussion with the fire chief regarding pressures, flows, hydrant locations. Good conversation, concerns about the pressures that were on over by Heath Markham, which I think they weren't aware of what those were, but when that system was designed, that's just how it was designed. It wasn't designed for a high pressure scenario, but the new system will address that. So we'll have much higher pressures incoming from Poplar Hill, bringing those pressures from roughly 20 pounds to 70 to 80 pounds.
80.
Yeah, so.
Thank you for finally getting with Dickie on that.
So that'll be addressed. Item location discussion, just to give the board an update. I know we're going to get a set of plans to the fire chief, electronic and hard copy, so they can provide comments on hydrant locations. I did make a comment though that, there's going to be comments from the fire department, from the Department of Health, from the Water and Sewer Authority, so we probably cannot accommodate every request, but we'll try our best on the hydrant locations, Highway Department as well. But like I said, so this week, starting today, I know some of the permitting documents have been emailed out. They'll be sent out to the rest of the agencies by the end of the week. So we're in a pretty good status with that portion of the project. Probably going to take a month, 2 months to get comments back. Really just we're up to the agency's timetables. Unfortunately, they're not too expedient lately to get comments back, but we'll keep pushing. Key ones for us is Department of Health, Water and Sewer Authority, the funding agencies. Some of these we don't have to get final permit approvals before we go to bid, but we want to get most of that stuff ironed out.
We are definitely solid with the USDA grant too.
Yep.
That didn't come down in value or anything. We are locked in.
You got it. so we're good with that. We still have some things to iron out. I know at your last board meeting, you approved some proposals for the geotech for archaeological investigation, so that work is gonna be underway based on these plans that we're gonna be issued. So those may change things as well, depending on where we find rock or we don't find rock. If any artifacts come back on the SHPO evaluation, it happens, not all the time, but it does happen. So, but that may change things as well. So really, right now, it's really a period where we're gonna kind of do another internal review as the agencies are reviewing as well. We did go through, do an updated cost estimate, so a more detailed cost estimate from the MAC Planning report, which was more generic. So this estimate takes into account, true counts of hydrants, valves, where we have road crossings, where we have directional drills. So based on my review of that, just for construction in the MAC Planning report, we were about $10.3 to $10.4 million for construction. Right now I'm at $10.7 million. So a little higher than the original estimate, but just to remember, we had roughly $2 million of contingency built in as well. So well within that contingency value. The estimate's based on recent bid pricing in the town of Groveland and town of Bethany. So very comfortable, honestly, with the budget, very comfortable where we are with the plans and specs.
Eric, where, the pumping station, have you figured out where that's going?
So we still want to talk to the property owner before we kind of announce something officially. It's really going to be in the vicinity of the northern end of Door Road in East Main. So, but again, I want to talk to the property owners before we kind of outline something.
And refresh my memory as far as distance between hydrants.
So rough, there's going to be some areas where it's going to be stretched out to say 700-800 feet, depending on, if it's just vacant ag land, there's no need to add in hydrants and costs. They're roughly $8,000 a piece. More dense areas like the village setting, that'll be roughly 500 feet.
So Eric, we've had this comment about the pump station for several meetings. I don't understand, why is it taking so long to resolve that question?
It's simply just the modeling and design decisions we got to have in the office, and we haven't.
That's several months. I mean,
Yep.
What's holding that up?
It's just we haven't. It's just taking more time than we anticipated.
What are you having to do that's taking so much time?
I
I can run a model and have it spit out an answer in about 20 minutes.
We're not done this. All I'm saying is we're not in the spot yet. So it's not impeding the design. It's not impeding permitting. We're still projecting a May bid date, just like the schedule said. So,
Is it the logistic of just what you said of obtaining land to put it on?
we want to have a conversation with the property owner first. We have several picked out, so, but it has to take into account a number of factors. It's not just the elevation of the main on the roadway. You drive down Doran Road, there's houses that are 30, 40, 50 feet above the road elevation, so all that has to be taken into account with the hydraulic model. We want to make sure it's right.
Supply, flow, and pressure.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the dip that's there in Dorn Road at the north end, how much does that play into?
That actually benefits you because, you're gaining pressure to supply the suction side of the pump station at that location. But that's also been kind of a challenge. We don't want to be too high pressure either, right? So, you try to, we don't want pressures in the 150 range. We try to stay below 100, but, you've driven out there, right? There's hills and valleys, so we're trying to accommodate all those situations.
Is there a downside to making a set of paper plans available in the clerk's office so that people can come in and look at it?
I don't think so at all. We can actually do that, plus we could have it posted on the website.
Okay.
Would not be an issue.
So when do you think that could be done?
Should be able to be done this week or next week. I would say let's get it done. Let's do that next week. Let's get it to the agency this week. We can get that published next week. Yeah.
Can we get that?
And I just want to make it clear that these are draft plans, subject to change, and we'll probably end up switching the side of the road in certain areas later on. But this will provide some people some guidance. So.
Mike, could we have a statement then on the town website stating that Water District 5 plans will be available here at the clerk's office? Once they are available, and you don't want to get the cart before the horse here, but, and you're thinking, Eric, within 2 weeks?
Yeah, yep.
So Eric, you built in 2 million for contingency.
Yep.
And so our monthly cost was based on a 12 million, like with that 2 million contingency?
Correct, yep.
So now that you're coming in around 10.7, and you're gonna be below, let's say you come in below the 2 million contingency, does that mean the properties that are within the districts would see potentially no?
No, so how the funding agency works, you spend the loan money first, grant money at the end. So you're essentially locked in, whatever's in the report, you're locked into that. You spend the grant money at the end. That's just how they operate. So, and it's also kind of a discussion that we've already kind of had internally, knowing that, it's grant money, we don't want to give it back. So we kind of start a little running list of, hey, maybe if there's money left over, here's some things we could do. So some examples, we, in other projects, other towns, we've been able to, maybe loop certain sections, provide better hydraulics, maybe upsize mains to think about future considerations. Town of Stafford a few years ago, we were able to make an argument to pave about 2 miles of roadway. With their help, they basically said, hey, let's come up with the argument that it's an old town road, it wasn't built to standards, and the heavy equipment damaged it. Really no fault of the contractor, but let's take those grant funds and pave a roadway. So unfortunately, no, it won't drop your debt service, but
So the debt service stays the same, so it's the grant money you're playing with.
Yep.
When do those conversations start to happen?
really towards,
The uptick.
really I would say when we get to about 70% construction. So I want to get through bidding, want to get through most of the construction,
So when
then
bids
start
are
having
around,
real
okay.
conversations. Yep.
But Eric, on those transmission lines, if people choose to hook to them, which at first they never said that, but if they do, that would drop the cost depending on how many hooked up.
Correct, so the
For everybody
discussion,
hooking them.
yeah, so the discussion with the Water Sewer Authority, not just with this project, but other projects, so Town of Groveland, we're having the same discussions. If there's a transmission main, and someone wants to connect, they can approach the Livingston County Water and Sewer Authority. What they've indicated, they would come up with an agreement with that property owner. For water service, they would have to pay for the connection, but in that agreement, the Water and Sewer Authority would collect a debt payment and then pay that back to the town to lower that unit
So
cost.
that would be equal to people that are already.
Yep, you got it. Yep.
And I think we talked a little about this 1 or 2 meetings ago, anticipated bidding to go out May, June of next year?
In May, yep, yep. Love to be sooner, but like I said, we'll see how the agencies act.
Okay, other questions for Eric?
Thanks for all your work that you've done. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So we did successfully go out to auction and borrow the $700,000 bond anticipation note. We have received funds, all set, done, and from this set of vouchers forward, all of the expenses for the water district come out of that bond anticipation note. As it is used up, then we'll be able to draw against the loan money from the USDA to sort of keep that balance in place.
What was the rate of the bond we were able to achieve?
I'd have to look it up, Steve. The winning bidder paid us a premium up front to knock the interest rate down under 4.
Oh, under 4, not 5, under 4.
So, we got 700,000, or 704,000 or something. But yeah, they paid us a premium up front.
From the 652.89.
Okay, I think that Okay.
Thank you.
Highway Department. Of course, everybody knows that we are down people. We lost one highway worker to being fired for cocaine use. We lost one to be turned in his 2-week notice. We have another one who is at boot camp. So now we're down to one MEO and the highway super and a part-time person that we have hired to help plow. We have 4 plow routes to cover, so we ask that everybody be patient. We've got 3 people to cover 4 routes, and they're doing the best they can. We have authorized going back out to interview people and try and get someone else in.
I understand as tonight we have 2 applicants.
So we will see what happens. You do not need a Class A operating plow. You need a Class B. So anybody with the Class B who'd like to throw in and start plowing the roads, sure to get in touch with us.
Air brakes, Mike? You got air brake endorsement? Do you there?
Probably.
I think so, for those trucks, yes.
Yeah, so earlier today I talked to Sean. He filled me in on what he would talk about tonight, because he plowed today and he's pretty busy. He did have an interview yesterday, and the gentleman asked what they were paying per hour, $25 an hour. He said not enough. Sean's got an ad out with Indeed, and he does have a couple other applicants that are coming to interview. But I question if 25 is enough. And I know we've went round and round and we're in union negotiations right now, but to get somebody that's going to be able to handle a plow, especially on short notice, they better know what they're doing, be it a Class A or Class B, or, you know, liability for the town could even be greater if they back up over somebody or something. The other thing Sean talked about, the salt shed that Steve and Sean got the blocks, they got the hoops, they got the covering for the salt storage. A temporary situation until we see what we come up with for the grant for the permanent one. They're gaining on it pretty good. The weather, of course, kind of held that up. He's thinking tomorrow they should probably be able to almost get it completely covered and done. And Steve, you brought it up. You might I'll let you throw it in there right now, as far as what we come up with the village.
The only thing I think we need to look at, Mike and the board here, we did enter into and had a resolution to enter in an agreement with the village. If we use their storage, hand it off to do some, actually we buy the salt. I see at this point, we're not going to need to go down that road. So I would actually at this time like to make a motion to rescind that resolution.
If you do that, Steve, there is no fire department money.
Is that right?
That's what we do.
That's how it got tucked in on that line.
See, and that's, again, we've got a word I don't like, it, transparent, but it's, I think the money's got to go from the town to the village. If it's for the fire department, it's got to be earmarked fire department, not be tucked in there or so much money through the parks. It's got to be spelled right out so that anybody in the public is looking at the budget, they can say, oh yeah, there's that money. And that's where this whole thing blew up.
Who owns the fire department?
Well, the village.
Right.
But I'm
So
saying,
who sets up the budgets for the fire department?
but that has nothing to
Yeah,
do
it
with
does. Everything, it has everything to do with it. Who sets up the budgets for the fire department? The village does.
the village, right?
Okay, so if we can find a way to free up some money in their budget, they can go ahead and allocate it to the fire department. It's there. And it'll be completely transparent, as transparent as you want it to.
How can you say that?
I just did it.
So,
Well, obviously, I agree. Don't be an asshole. What I'm I'm saying is, right, but instead of having it tucked into a salt
It's not
budget,
tucked in anything. We just freed up money that they can use for the fire department.
So,
the
Ron,
village's budget.
we're under contract with both the fire department and the ambulance.
right,
for
I understand, I understand.
And so those contracts were negotiated in good faith with the village so that the people who live outside the village, like you and me, could expect certain increases for these 3 years.
Right.
It was a 6% and then 2 1s.
Right.
So I have always thought that it was bad form to come back mid-contract and say, oh, yeah, I don't know.
Right, I
So this was our way out. Next year, the board will be renegotiating the fire contract and the ambulance contract, and this ends up being a 1-year deal. So I don't think anybody hid the fact that that's where the money was going, and that's where it was intended to go. But we also do not have any control over the funds once they pass to the village. Even, and I've said this ad infinitum, the money that we allocate for the fire department, not all of it goes to the fire department. It does not. Some of that money goes to pay for other things for the village, and the balance of it goes to the fire department. We write the check. It's up to the village to figure out how that works. That's all we can do.
That's where the problem lies with the ambulance as well.
Right. We have a contract for ambulance services. That's always what it's been.
Right.
And so the money has been, the village has been using for the building. That's up to them. It's not up to us. We're paying what we're supposed to, and we're paying on time.
When's that contract due up the same time?
Same time. You'll be renegotiating them next spring.
Well, anyways, you didn't get into equipment planning. The salt shed is what it is. Both the cemetery and the crosswalk is kind of, he hasn't dealt with that.
Yeah, well, no, I think everybody gets it, he's busy. I did get a call from Workforce Development in Genesee County and gave them permission to list the job listing. They seemed interested, they think that they might have some people in the area that would be interested. So,
I know the one applicant, I was talking with a gentleman tonight, it's a friend of his that's applied, but anyway, it doesn't matter. He does have truck driving experience, does have, I don't know if it's CDL A or B, but he does drive 10-wheeler now, so that would be a good plus if he was available.
yeah.
And today I did reach out to some of the guys that have retired. Kenny, just to see if they, maybe would come in and help out until we did find somebody that would fill the position.
How much are we gonna,
Did they respond?
Kenny's thinking about it, and Kenny East, I left him a voicemail. He hasn't got back.
how much, Avon and Livonia pay more, but they're bigger towns than Lima, right? What do they pay their
Yeah,
jobs?
we had that paper that had all the
Breakdowns.
Yeah,
We have a pretty comprehensive breakdown of what everybody's paying and all that other stuff. We can't really change what we're doing without the Teamsters' permission at this point. So we're still in the middle of the negotiations, and the table team is going to be changing first of the year, so there will be no more sit-downs until January, and then negotiations continue.
I would keep in mind, Ron, that we pay a higher healthcare reimbursement than anybody else around.
No, I understand.
So that's part of compensation. People like to just let that, fly by because they only get dollars on a paycheck. But
No, I know, and most of the
that's a lot of
guys,
money.
the guys have young families, and that kind of plays into a benefit for them. The only thing is, we gotta be really careful. Obviously, we can't go crazy if we've got this great healthcare plan, but, guys look at dollars per hour, and if you're gonna find people that are competent, good, and have longevity, there's gotta be,
Well, what I'm saying, the future board can say, hey, look, if you want to have comparable, hourly rates, you can lower the amount that you're putting into the health insurance match and raise the salary, and then you're going to start matching what other people are paying. So,
no, I know.
It's.
It is a complicated thing. It is.
And longevity for us lately has been a year or less with employees, so, other than the ones that have stuck with us. It is tough out there to compete.
You're headed for, you're out tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we do have to conduct an interview with the guy who's leaving. So either you, Steve, or me, Jennifer has the form. It's a one-on-one, sit down.
And do we have a time frame when that's got to obviously be
He's
done?
he's got 3 days left, so.
Sometime this week?
Yeah.
All right, I can do just, I guess, let me know, I'll alter my schedule.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. Next, Mark and Bill did the annual review of the Justice Court records. We need to approve them as a board so that we can send them off to Albany.
Motion to approve the Justice Court records review.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried. Okay, here are the budget transfers. There. So we're at the cycle in the season where we are now closing out lines that had a little bit of money left, and we're finding out where we had to spend a little bit of extra based on how much we needed for this thing at the highway department, or that thing at the office, or both. We are on this go-around a little bit over on uniforms. Social Security has run us a little bit extra. We had to have some extra drug testing. And we have some more engineering attorney bills. So these are the transfers that will get processed if you approve them.
Motion to approve the December transfers.
No, second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried. All right, IT services, anything, Mark?
The only thing I have to share is Dan had to revert back to my town of Lima, New York.org, whatever you call it, URL thing, because the .gov wasn't working. So my emails are working, but I'm not set up on the .gov like he was trying to get. And I don't know what the problem is, but something has to be between him and Robert, our Deming, who takes care of our website. So those two have to get together to solve that so that everybody can be put onto the new .gov.
All right. Siemens project update. The building has heat now. It went into process last week, 1:30 at the time. We worked through some problems Friday morning with the thermostats, and then everything came in and got reprogrammed on Monday, and it seems to be holding fairly well.
Kind of nice, like you don't have to wear earmuffs or gloves.
I know. Once the system is finalized here this month, the next time that there will probably have to be a little bit of programming adjustment is when we flip seasons and they become air conditioners. So we have a full end-to-end warranty with Siemens for a year. They'll be the ones handling all of the stuff from January 1st through December 31st of 26. After that, we're on to manufacturer's warranties for defects. The balance of work is the ADA portion of the contract. Siemens is handling the bidding. Contractors have been coming in and picking up the plan sets. So there are 7 pieces to it, and they will be executed in order, and when the funding runs out, then the balance of them simply won't get done. So the number 1 priority is the restrooms on the 2nd floor, moving those down to the level of the actual audience floor, making them handicapped accessible and easy to use exits there. Second priority is the food pantry expansion. Theft is always a problem at the food pantry, and especially this time of year. When I started in 2018, all of the Christmas presents were stolen from down there and had to be replaced. So it's one of the reasons that we've got cameras all over the building now and all that. But even a camera, all it does is tell you maybe who did it. It doesn't prevent them from doing it. The food pantry expansion will allow for a separate exit for anybody that's in the general area downstairs out the east side of the building there up those steps, and will allow that sort of outer storage space to be locked so that the consumables that are not governed by the food pantry law, which include the shampoos and toothbrushes and all of that other stuff, will be there for the people that need them. Third priority is the record storage. Currently, our records are all paper and are stored in the basement, which is considered a floodplain by the insurance company. A fireproof room will be built above my office next to the stage where the old bathroom was. And that room will actually allow us to hopefully get a little bit more of our insurance and not have to pay $15,000 an hour to have somebody restore our documents if they went underwater. If that does happen, there's a number you can call where they will airdrop a team from Chicago. They will cryogenically freeze each piece of paper and send it through a scanner, destroying it, but keeping the data. It's hideously expensive, but it's the only way to keep your stuff. I'd prefer that nobody have to do that. Next priority is the sort of catering nook upstairs. We do get a lot of different groups coming in, a corner of kitchen cabinets at handicapped and regular heights with a sink, and outlets for crock pots and stuff like that is in there. Next priority would be some adjustments to the bathrooms downstairs to make them more wheelchair accessible. Last priority is the offices in back, wheelchair height counter, regular height counter, and security glass, transaction windows, that kind of thing. Since I have been here, we have only been ripped off there once for, it's like $600. So the reason that we keep the door and the other stuff there now, even in line
Mike, is part of on the big picture of that project, I know the whole Siemens thing started before Ron and I got on the board, but do I understand was part of that solar for on one of the buildings? Is it going to be involved with the library, or what is the deal with the solar?
So part of it is all the library, the courthouse, this building, and the highway garage, it all receives some energy improvements. One of the things that was going to be done was adding more PV to the highway garage roof. National Grid decided not to cooperate with us. Three-phase is right at the street, there at the corner of Dublin and Google. They did not want to extend it to the highway garage, so it would have cost us another 80 grand, which we don't have in the budget. So instead, the array is being moved over to the library. The library is directly across the street from the substation, right? And it's, electrically, it's an excellent candidate to have it put on.
And that's a fairly new roof on that too, isn't it, Ron?
It was done in 19. Yeah, brand new roof in 19, insulated panels. The array will only weigh about 5 pounds a square foot, so that roof will easily support it.
What would happen if you didn't take that grant money for the solar array?
So if we did not get once the array is in, there is grant dollars that then come back to help fund the project. That's the whole reason for it. We're getting more out of it than we're putting in.
So you almost are locked into doing it.
So, and then the balance of the project budget is what goes into these ADA improvements.
As well as over there to the library, the charging stations, that's kind of the same deal there.
Yep.
Does this one here work anymore? One here next to the courthouse?
It might.
From time to time it does.
I can answer that if you'd like.
Yeah.
The village gave ownership, the village still owns those, but gave production back to a company that was taking Connect with the original company, was taken over by Synergy, another different name. They have taken a 3-year contract through the village to operate that, while we still own the actual property. And their intention is to upgrade the services, but it is no longer a drain on the village's dollars, because we were losing money on that.
So they're going to oversee it, but the village won't realize any money out of it, any revenue out of it.
We only have ever realized loss.
That's why I'm thinking the library that.
You had a minimum monthly charge,
There's
correct?
a minimum monthly charge because it had its own meter, so there's $35 there. Then there was at the time, it was $800 a year just for the servicing of the software for the chargers. So that's the folks that, when you went in, logged in, get charged your credit card, or didn't charge your credit card for the first X number of years they were in, that it was supposedly paid for by the grant that was originally used to install them. Typically, and again, this is still probably the case, EV chargers, a municipality get paid to put them in. So the cost to put them in is nominal to free to the municipality, so somebody, but to use them, there was an overage before I came on the board that was well and truly been used up. When I took over, looking at the usage, it was becoming a net drain on the village.
So is it state mandated, these charging stations, you know? I mean, it just.
It was a DEC grant that was originally used, but they're not state mandated.
I mean, it's still money being spent.
Absolutely is.
Yeah. Weren't we required to put the EV stations in as part of the grant?
Right, so grant dollars come back from having the EV chargers put in. The entire package, was all sort of balanced together. The small difference between the library set and this one is we don't need another meter. It's coming off of the library itself, so that commercial meter charge isn't there.
Right. But really, to have those charging stations there, and even the solar panels on top of the library, where the library is situated, in New York weather, I just don't see where they're going to really be any kind of benefit or.
You'll get something out of it. I mean, sun's east to west, the library's in a well.
30% efficiency at best, Ron, like everything else out there.
I love Kathy Wokel. doing a great job there.
Okay.
Moving on about.
Town solar law.
I had gotten some additional maps produced by the Liaison Planning Department, which I forwarded to the group that was meeting on the subject. Since I'm no longer going to be on the town board after the first of the year, the new board's going to have to appoint somebody else to be the town board liaison. So I've withdrawn from the effort, and I think it's up to the new supervisor to decide who's going to help support the effort.
Okay. Garden Street water. Is anybody here from Garden Street tonight? Does everybody know where Garden Street is?
South Lima.
Garden Street is the very southwest corner of the town of Lima.
We all meet there, Livonia and Lima.
Garden Street is here, and the street hooks off into Avon way before Carey Road. There are a number of residents on that street who are experiencing water issues. Water, of course, will be at the south end of that, at the intersection of South Lima Road, but not going up Garden Street. The bulk of the people who are complaining about water loss there are Avon residents who are on the white side of the paper. The folks who are on the Lima side, there's 5 houses and I think 3 are interested. So this is something that is going to have to be worked out between the next board and the Avon board. Avon would likely take the lead on this to see if there is interest to form a water district. And if there is, and they do put one in connecting to the soon-to-be water line that's going down through South Lima Road, then our residents on the other side of the street would be following the same sort of procedure, getting with the water authority, paying for a tap, special contract, etc., and going that way. So that, I believe, is between you and Dave Lefevre. Okay, we're not going to have to close the public hearing because that is closed. And we are not going to vote to establish an overlay district tonight.
Can we vote to have a new public hearing?
We should. And so we would be looking to authorize a public hearing for, what's the date? For the January 6th board meeting to discuss the general business overlay district on Plank Road.
Well, we do have a meeting coming up on the end of the year. Can we just have that coincide with the end of the year meeting?
I think it's going to skip over, so. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and looking for a motion then to.
Mark, or do you want to go ahead? No. I'll make the motion then. First of all, that the public hearing get re-posted in the Sentinel correctly, and that we review it at a public hearing scheduled for January 6, 2026.
Okay, is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried.
Hey Bryce, when are you expecting to get your business up and going?
At this point, dude, I don't know. As soon as the lawyer didn't fill out the papers, so now I don't know. Like now
Well,
we
that's
got the
what
public reviews. Like I have no idea what to do right now. I'm
Being
just
published incorrectly
Yeah, I'm not, nothing against you, obviously, you just
It keeps pushing you back.
That's what
to
I'm
where you wanna
thinking,
go.
yeah. Obviously, we're having all these budget talks, like, if I start a business, I can contribute to that budget, like, I'm just looking to work, man.
Yeah. Well, it's too bad because, costing you time, costing you money.
It's how these things go, I'm not diminished in any way.
Well,
It
good
is what
luck.
it is, right? This is how government works. I have no problem with the system. I will make a comment though, so the way that it was written, I previously have gone to the zoning board. They just shot me right down because it wasn't permitted. I'm assuming the way this is worded, when I go back to actually open my business, the zoning board will not be able to say, now you don't meet these criteria.
The reason the zoning board had to deny you is because you asked for a use variance.
But that's what they're saying,
A use variance is almost impossible to get in New York State. So they basically had to deny you, okay? It has nothing to do with the merits of what you're trying to do.
But what I'm saying is, the end of what this bill stated says that I will have to go before the zoning board and ask for a special use permit, which they had argued I would not be eligible for either. Is that something that will be recommended by this overlay?
This will
supersede that.
Authorize that process.
Okay, because like they basically told me you don't meet any of these criteria, so I'm assuming this overlay
The
will change
criteria
that.
for the use variance. That's just a whole different something.
Okay.
The next
Okay,
thing-
I was told to go for that, and they were like, this makes no
The
sense.
code addresses what you have to do for a special use permit. So if you look through the code and you'll see, if you meet those requirements, then there should be no reason. Usually what they're looking for is any oddities about the business that protect the neighbors or the public or what have you. It's not necessarily burdensome. It just has to be a process to go.
Okay. Resolution number 17 of 2025. Allocating funds for an outdoor fitness court. So, this is a grant that came across my desk that I sent over to Brian. Brian did a fantastic job applying because they are ready to award the park the grant. However, that first $35,000 does not come unless by the 10th of this month, the town board, the village board, and the Parks Commission have all executed this non-binding agreement for this outdoor fitness court. There's still grants that have to be sought to make up the difference. And then after all of the grant things have been exhausted, it'll be up to the town and village to look in their park reserves to make up the difference. There's about 200 of these outdoor fitness courts that have been installed across the United States. They can be used for exercise routines. They come with their own app for a 7-minute workout. They can be used for Tai Chi. They can be used for a lot of things. There is also a public art component to it that allows for that to be displayed too.
Pickleball?
The one side might fit pickleball.
Seems to be real popular.
But this is a non-binding agreement. Step number 1 is for us to execute this. Then all the other pieces have a chance to fall into place. If we choose not to execute the agreement tonight, then we are at a full stop.
Hey, Brian, you had mentioned you were looking to seek to get another 125,000?
Correct. So,
where is that coming from?
So as Mike stated, there's actually 1,000 of these across the United States. There's going to be 50, a plan for additional 50 in New York State alone in the next few years. Every county in New York is targeted to have one of these. Lima has the opportunity to have the first one in Livingston County. There are currently 2 fully built in Rochester. A third one is being constructed at the park, in Rochester, additional park in Rochester. These are high profile, free to use for the public athletic facilities. We do not have a gym in the town of Lima or the village of Lima. Feasibility studies by several people I've talked to they're not real good. Unless somebody wants to open a gym that loses money or is a hobby gym, it's probably not going to happen. This is an opportunity for a well-designed outdoor fitness, free for the public to use. It would be at the park. So it comes with apps for everyone. It comes with an app and a continued program that establishes for every person who has, regardless of their age and regardless of their ability, for all abilities types, including people in wheelchairs. So this is an opportunity, the $35,000 grant from MVP Health, that it will be awarded upon the execution of these non-binding agreements, will allow me to go and seek additional funding. One of those is a short-term fund, or a short fuse fund, due in this month for $125,000 from the Department of Health, New York State Department of Health. The issue with accepting MVP Health and these fitness court, national fitness campaigns, fitness court monies is they have a specialized group that helps with these additional grant fundings. People, folks, the ones in Rochester have been also co-funded by Wegmans, and we're going to look at University of Rochester Health System, Rochester Regional Health System, and also regional partners with our friends at the executive level, Pam Helming and Rick Bailey. Those are the places I'm going to look for money for them. So the entire cost, while is significant, my intention is that the town and village of Lima's in part of the cost of the $300,000 for this is minimal. I am personally looking for it to be in-kind services, digging the hole, putting gravel in. There's an entire outfit. I sent to the Parks Commission, Steve and you, both a significant amount of information. If you want to share that with the rest of the board, that'll be great. When I have information that'll also share with the village board, once we have the ability to do, I have the ability through these three executed non-binding agreements, I can then search for additional funding. That will allow me then to go out to the public and announce them when it's a more mature project, how it's going to work. It is non-binding. We're not going to go into debt for this, if that's a concern.
Did I read wrong? I thought that the total cost was $175,000, but it's $300,000?
If we have the largest, if we with any grant, you always go for the highest amount you can.
Oh.
The lowest is $175,000 in addition to the $35,000 in addition to the $30,000. So it's a $225,000 minimum, $300,000 maximum.
Brian, who's going to maintain the equipment?
So it has a 25-year design life with very low maintenance. The maintenance requirement is to be power washed twice a year.
How would it affect insurance that we pay? Will this increase the insurance because of it being a fitness court?
No, it would not. Everyone who uses the park, whether they walk their dog, play baseball, or play basketball, if you want to sue the village and the town for stubbing your toe or breaking it, it'll happen. So it's really an at-risk use, and we're always, the village and the town are always the prime suspect to be sued for that case. So no, it would not affect that.
When you say high profile, you use the words high profile.
Right.
What is that?
High profile means that folks like Danny Wegman, the Wegman Corporation, folks like our senators are very names put on those. So it makes it a lot easier to look for those kinds of funding. I've heard it said, and I don't want this to be true, but that Lima is not a very progressive town, that we don't like to make things happen. Well, this is something that we can have for the future of our children for the next 25 years to help not just old people like me improve our health, but also have children that for the next 25 years can utilize this outdoor equipment to be healthier and also to be more active. So that's what it's, the profile, high profile part of it is.
Examples, like you mentioned a couple.
You can go visit, there's 2 of them in Rochester, and a third one being built right now. So you're more than welcome to go visit them. They're called a fitness court by the National Fitness Campaign. 1,000 of them across the country. So the program is very well designed. It's very efficient. We have them in a lot of places. I again shared with the Parks Commission guys some information and reshare it. Once it gets, I'll be happy to post it on the information both on social media as well as the village website. Okay, we're just kind of in this 1 week before the village meeting, this 1 week period. Okay.
You don't know what parks they're in at Rochester, do you?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Do you know what parks they are located in?
Locations. So there's one in Greece, that I do not know. There's one on Cobb's Hill that's quite well used, and the one's being built in the park next to Strong, which is Genesee Valley Park, is one being constructed now.
I think when I was looking after you and I talked this weekend, I think there might be one in Phelps.
There is one in Phelps. Again, there's none in Livingston County at all. They're in 29% of the counties in New York. Again, their goal is to be in every county in New York. So, the reason we've gotten this grant is that we, the village and town of Lima, are very well aligned with the goals of fitness and health through the Be Well Committee, Be Well in Lima Committee, Genesee Valley Health Partnership, and the leadership in both the town and the village moving towards better health outcomes for the residents. Anyone else have a question that I can answer?
Yeah, is that facility like a soccer field or is it a building?
It's a, so again, I'll be happy to share it. You can look it up on your own if you want. It's National Fitness Court.
So it's an outdoor court?
Yep, so we're looking for a 38 by 78 court. Half of it is fitness here, which is all body weight use. It's on the other half is an area where which they're calling fitness studios, where people do body dancing, they do Zumba, they do Tai Chi, and maybe even pickleball. I don't know if it's, I'm not a pickleball person, so I don't know.
Fabulous.
But it's all outdoors.
It is all outdoors.
It's not enclosed building.
Nope, it's all outdoors. So.
Saves a lot of money there.
Yeah.
And they get free for the public to use.
All right, so, do we have a motion to adopt resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried. All right, that needs to be signed by everybody. Do you have any?
Steve, you have it right there, don't you? Yeah, it's fine.
Put your name down and we'll do something like this.
Oh, is this something make sure that's not the Parks Commission?
No, that's not that's the Park Commission one.
Right, do you have?
I have 17 for there. That's my 17.
Yeah. So what I need is.
Oh, this one
The
here.
young people, they can train for Ninja Warrior.
Film it right here in Lima.
There you go.
What's this? Okay, I got it.
Ron, there's already a Ninja Warrior in town, but you need to keep contact for yourself.
Pretty stealthy, huh?
Carey.
You got it.
No, you can have it.
That's so good.
I'm not gonna do it.
Third on your- I was gonna say, third on your poster board at home.
Okay, that goes to
Mark, what's the?
Okay, we do not have to do resolution number 18, which was the seeker of the general business overlay at this time. So at this time, then, we would have public comments on anything at all.
If you'd like to come forward, Brian, and sign in.
Thank you for letting me speak. My question is that several months ago, at the board meeting, I had asked the town highway superintendent to look into a traffic easing coming into town, coming in from the west on Highway 20. I would like to amend that to also ask for a traffic easing in the south, coming into the village from the south on 15A.
Yes, please.
To a 45-mile-an-hour zone prior to the 30-mile-an-hour village zone. That's all. I am not in a hurry. I understand that certainly he's been very busy today, and if he could go to take that to the Highway Traffic Safety Board for Livingston County, I would be very appreciative of that. And we can start working on the details of how that will happen. That's all, and happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
To tag along with that then, a couple meetings ago, Mark took the time, put together the letter, the outreach letter to, I believe it was Genesee Regional Transit Authority, or New York State DOT, about our situation up here on Bragg Street. Have we gotten a response from them at all?
Yeah.
Is there any way we can, is there something we can do going forward? Either one of you know of that we can contact them to kind of...
So I'll be up there next week. GTC is changing its director right now, so things are going to slow a little bit for a few weeks.
We did get a response back from June.
Right.
I can't say the last name. And I think it's a matter of following up. It's a matter of putting the pressure on
Right.
that issue in the front.
Right. What I'm saying is that the pressure point is about to change. The existing director's on terminal leave and retiring. The new director will be coming up in January. Not much is going to get done in the interim.
When, you don't know who that is yet?
Nope, but it will.
Is the public comment section still
I will.
available?
I will. That's why I'm asking tonight.
It's public comments. I know Steve likes to
I'm sorry.
elbow his way in.
Thank you.
All set.
My name is Andy Matthews, and my comment, pardon my voice, I have a cold tonight, but my comment is, as I understand it, there are several members of this board that won't be here next month or soon, and I would like to say thank you for your time here. This is largely, I'm on the zoning board, I happen to be on the zoning board. It is largely a thankless job to put your hand up and do something that you think is positive. It may not, everybody might not agree with it. Probably everybody won't agree with it. But it's worth saying thank you for your effort for that. And I, as a citizen, and as also a small member of a small board, thank you for that. That's my comment.
I'll second that.
And though we come to meetings and don't always see eye to eye, you gotta sit here and respect the people that do take the time to try to serve this town and respect their ideas. Are they always the ones that are gonna be implemented? No. But we have had good discussion. Thank you over the last 2 years. I look forward for the next 2 years. And it's been great to have you guys serve this town. Thank you.
Yeah, you've been on the board 23 years.
Okay, anyone else under the public comments? Hearing Hearing none. Okay, Golden Agers. A week from today, the Golden Agers will be having lunch at Fanatics. It is the Christmas party. If you are 55 years or older and you have some association with Lima, you can join the Lima Golden Agers and be part of this group. They meet once a month on the second Tuesday for lunch and camaraderie.
We actually have about 45 people come every month. So, stop in.
And that's going to be at Jim's?
Make
sure you make reservations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you would like to be there, please see Lori, who is the president of the Golden Agers.
That's Tuesday.
Okay. So village, we thrashed out the thing for the park there, and the balance of it, I think we're probably good. The VFW is going to be having its annual collection for veterans in hospice and hospital. It's going to be this coming Saturday in this room from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We are collecting things that are comfort items for people who are having a long hospital stay. Toothbrushes, toothpaste, sweatpants, makeup, nail files and clippers and combs and shampoo and body wash and all of those kinds of things that would make someone feel a little bit more comfortable, even books of puzzles and that. Everything has to be new in the original packaging. Okay, the Legion Post is having breakfast this coming Sunday over at the Legion, 7:30 a.m. to 11. It's still only $10, and the money goes to a good cause. Legion Post is located just north of the Four Corners in West Bloomfield on the right. Be Well in Lima. So we talked about this fitness court and all the things with it. The Be Well initiative is something that I brought to Lima. Livingston County has a overarching Be Well in Livingston effort, and the whole drive is to get measurable reductions in heart disease and cancer rates for the community. Now, we don't measure any of those things, but the Genesee Valley Health Partnership has the ability to get those statistics from all of the area hospitals so that we can see where it is that we're going. When I came on in 2018, this was just gotten underway in Nunde and has been very successful for them. Mount Morris was next in the pipeline. I got us to be third. We got delayed a little bit with COVID, but we did get off to a good start here. You have seen the Be Well folks out at the 4th of July, the Civil War reenactment, the Pumpkin Festival, the Crossroads Festival. They were here at the tree lighting. They're always out there trying to raise awareness for moving more, eating better, and stressing less. Those are the three sorts of pillars. With all of that, this grant for the park to help folks move better, if you've not had a chance, go and take a look at that thing online. I mean, it is a wonderfully designed static body weight workout system, which you can dial in a 7-minute workout on your phone. It'll tell you which sections to use, and it'll be a great addition to the community. Be Well is also the ones who are sort of working the semi-sesquicentennial for the community. It is 250 years. This is the only 250 years we're going to have. It's going to culminate at the 4th of July in 2026 with the largest fireworks show that we have had so far. Provided, of course, that you actually get the contract and approve it. can haul that.
No pressure, huh? You just promised the largest ever.
You gotta stay within the budget. That's all it is. But be well, it's something that is helping to draw the community together. Historically, Lima has had some very bad rates of cancer in the town. Just a lot of sickness and illness, me included. So we would like to get that reduced. This is a great way to do it. I would encourage any one of you who is interested in just listening to what this is about and maybe pitching in even just a little bit. The meeting is tomorrow night, right here at 7 o'clock, Brian?
7 o'clock, yes.
All are welcome. Come on in, see what it's about, and if there's something that you can do to help out, even a little bit, the entire community will benefit. The Crossroads Festival. So we are already planning for next year. We've met a couple of times to try to get our logistics and stuff sorted out for the fundraising campaign and all of the other items that have to go on. Crossroads, I've been president since 15 or 16, something like that. We have grown this festival now to 18,000 people coming in over 4 days. It is a huge boon to the downtown. They get to see the businesses. It is the largest day for several of our downtown businesses, largest weekend kind of thing. A great showcase for our community. They get to come in for the music. We are the largest free festival in the county, and attendance-wise, we are fairly close to the air show at this point. Not, we're still a few thousand off, but we're close. The air show does a much better job of advertising, that I can say. They're on the radio 12 months a year. But we are always looking for volunteers. You'll have to assign somebody from the board as your liaison to the Crossroads Council. And that is the first Monday of the month, 6 o'clock. Location changes all the time. Ron?
Yeah. Again, the highway department, if anybody knows anybody that's is a CDL, A, B, that they could point it towards Sean at the highway department, would be appreciated. These guys are working hard, and they're going to be working hard, and we all know the weather's going to only get worse from here. As far as the library, we've got a meeting coming up later this month, 10th. Your next meeting.
Hey, on the library, I sent you an email this afternoon. It's okay. I've been very delayed in getting that to you, but those are pictures that I took from the board meeting that I was at one time.
Yeah, I'll behind there in that.
Yeah, the brush behind the building, the tree that's got to be fixed, the chain link fence is full of vines, drainage issues. So there's pictures there to help you work with Sean to try to resolve them.
Yeah, thank you very much. So they did bring that up at the last meeting, which I kind of discussed a little bit on the 18th. But, obviously Sean and them are trying to plow, trying to put up a building, so they're not going to get to that as far as behind, directly behind, not the trees, but directly behind the library. There's something maybe clean up for spring, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And then, the tree, I went and looked at that too, and I looked at the roof. It's a dead tree, so it is a little scary. If it falls over, it's going to do damage.
If that's one thing they can take care of first, that'd be probably.
Yeah, I agree. As far as the Parks Commission, Steve will probably add to it, but talked about a lot of different things. Kind of a comprehensive plan at the park. Steve has got a guy that he can go on a little bit more about, but I'm going to be putting new roofs on the the gazebos down there at the park, both of them, the roofs are in tough shape. We did talk about the fitness course at the last meeting. Thanks a lot, Brian, for what you're doing there. Talked about stuff like doing different, maybe making more trails for people to walk on in the park. And of course the Boy Scouts are going to build a new dock down there at the pond. And I guess that's about it.
Okay. Bill?
Hey, the boards that I'm on, Fran would be a good one to talk to about the historical deal, because I'm on that, she does a real good job with that. The ag board, you'd have to talk to somebody to replace me on that, and court liaison. But I've been on the board, I was on the planning board for 10 years, Regents board for 10, 23 years on a town board. I've been there 47 years, 43 of those years I've been on the board. And it's been a privilege and an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Bill, did you have any conversation with Ken Samara at all, the Boy Scouts?
No. Sorry.
Okay, Mark?
The planning board did meet. Summer recreation was addressed at the last town board meeting as far as our agreements for next year. They'll be starting their program up in June, July next year.
They'll actually be opening up in February for signups.
Right, February for signups. So, and then they'll have their annual meeting again in October. I don't have anything else to add on DOL. It's a good presentation anyway. And as far as the court liaison is concerned, we're applying for a grant to get some money to beef up the security at the courthouse. The grant has been submitted. They request some additional information on some miscellaneous items which I put together and sent back in. So I think they're seriously considering, us for this $30,000 grant. It won't be all $30,000, it'll be something less than that. But I gave all the information to Carol, so she has a file of all the bids and all the pricing and all the contact names and stuff, so that whoever follows up with this will be able to just get the information from her.
And the reason we're going down that road is we did have an incident 6 weeks ago, and someone who was very upset. So the grant would harden the clerk's office a bit, so that she would not be able to be.
Well, she did get arrested and went to jail.
That woman did get arrested after she went after Joe, yeah. The balance of it is for a magnetometer, so that people would have to go through and relieve themselves of their metal objects before they came into court. The grant puts all that stuff in place. It does not fund the deputy. It would be needed to operate the magnetometer. So that would be a discussion for next year. The court's budget and how often and all that. The sheriff's department does provide those deputies, but there's got to be a lot of advance notice. Okay, Steve.
Parks Commission. Flower beds have been kind of prepped for fall. I've got one to do yet to get rid of some dead mums. Other than that, we'll be ready for spring again to go at it down there. The big projects, Ron talked about some, kind of tied in with the Pumpkin Festival. We are going to support the approximately $1,000 project by the Eagle Scout at the pond in the spring. There was an additional $300 to our original $10,000 we gave last year for the electrical upgrade. That is to cover, we do 2 more outlets, Brian. We did 2 more outlets and it was an additional $300. So we agreed we're going to be giving that money. And we are going to be entering in an agreement, and Mike, I don't know, Brian was gonna look at this too. If the veterans will not come up with the roof money, the Pumpkin Committee is probably gonna come up with the $3,700 to do both of them. That is gonna be 2 new roofs. They will be textured steel instead of the, and they look good. We went through a lot of different designs and looks here at our park meeting here a week and a half ago. There were 2 bids we received to do the project. One was $14,000, one is $3,700. And the $3,700 is going to be by Jason and Daryl Reif Construction out of Penn Yan. It'll be at their convenience over the winter. We get a good spell for a day. It's only going to take 1 day to do it. We will probably ask for the town or village to help us though with the tear off of the roofs. They are bad. They're pure sagged and mossy.
You can push right up to the bottom.
Yeah, they're shot, folks. I mean, they were nice. I don't know how many years it's been. Mike, do you know when they were put down there?
1980 something.
Yeah.
Those are originals. Do you have a breakdown?
2,000 for the big one, 1,700 for the small one, and that is going to be with 2 new cupolas too that are going to match the textured steel that's going to be put on there, so it's not going to look too funky with an old wooden. One is completely rotted, the other one is maybe salvageable, but that's questionable too. So why, for that kind of money, these guys, I've known them for years. Their workmanship is fantastic. And yeah, it's going to be 1 day in and 1 day out. It's going to be done, and they should be ready to go for spring. It will be sometime between now and spring. That project will take place.
And that's stone coated steel.
Yeah.
The most expensive
So
you can put on a
which pavilion is the one that was donated by the Legion?
The long one that sits on the west side of the grounds.
Is that the big one?
Yes.
The small one?
Big one.
The big
Big one, so $2,000.
Yes. And the smaller gazebo up near the Rotary Pavilion will be 1,700. That's the breakdown he gave me.
I gave that information to Anthony.
Okay, great.
Anthony gave it to the committee.
Okay, you did pass it on. Then we don't know yet if...
They have a meeting this month. He was very happy with the number though.
All right, that'd be great. And then there might be money to do other projects down there. Maybe you get another 100,000 out of us for exercise court. Yeah, right.
You can paint the pumpkin on it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Speaking of that, the Pumpkin Festival saved the date, October 3rd. It will be year 4. And we're, at least for a 1 day, we're very happy with our 1 day numbers. For the pings that came back, I think Mike put it out there, it's like 1,600 pings. However, the demographics and the breakdown of that, if you don't think Big Brother knows how many people are in your family or associated with that phone, those pings associated back still to around 4,000 some people we had this year for the 1 day event. So we're very happy still with that. Again, we're looking for more sponsors. We've already picked up a couple of other big sponsors for next year. I say big, I believe some $500,000 sponsors. So that is going forward quite well. And Nancy and her husband, Nancy's not here, but I thank the Sherlocks, some of our newest people that have helped. And if you want to help and donate your time, again, we'll gladly take it either the day of or a few weeks before that, anything. It is greatly appreciated what that has become. ZBA, nothing right now, but hopefully will be. So we're going to hear something soon. Fire department. So Lima has taken possession of our new used pumper. We did purchase it under the $375,000 mark that we were hoping. I say that's a lot of money. That's peanuts. The new truck we were looking at was going to be $1.2 million, as I stated in other meetings. And just, I don't know going forward if we're going to be able to afford any new big trucks like that. Maybe rescues and stuff like that, or Chiefs cars, obviously. But to shell out for a 15-year commitment, $1.2 million, and that's just one of our 5 trucks. So it's kind of tough.
Steve, what are you doing with the old one?
The old one, as soon as this one goes into service we're hoping right after the first year, after hoses get put in there, new radios, we have to now put different radios, because that was a Monroe County Fire Department, so now we have to have our radios that can talk to both Monroe County and Livingston County. We've got to get them in the truck. There's just a little bit of detail to do with it, and just some equipment swapped over. And Dickey is looking into another fire department that unfortunately is disbanding, actually 2 different departments, and we have a quote from them on some fairly new air bottles, and if we can get them, instead of paying $8,000 an air bottle, we're hoping to get these for $1,000 or less. And they still have a fair life expectancy on them, I believe. I believe he was talking another 6-7 years down the road. So the dollars and cents really make sense as far as purchasing them. He's looking right now, we might be able to get 5 or 6. We can't get all 10 or 12 that we're hoping, but if we can take baby steps to, again, kick the can down the road and save the taxpayers money, make the department budget so it works for other things, that's obviously what we look to do there too. Our raffle, I can tell you, I'm sold out. I've acquired some more for a couple friends. We are down to around 100-some tickets out of the 1,500 left. So if you do want a ticket, get a hold of me or any Lima fireman. We'll be happy to get them. There's still a few of the businesses that help us. And that is actually a week from Saturday, the 13th. We'll be drawn at the upper deck. If you'd like to come down to it and see who are your neighbors and stuff, who's going to win, that would be great. Also on the 13th, 2 other events. That morning at 9 o'clock at the firehouse. Rumor is Santa's going to be there. Anybody has children, grandchildren that would like to come, bring them. It is a free breakfast. Again, you talk about Lima, some of the good things we do around town with these festivals and what the fire department does, this is free. Absolutely free. We don't even ask you for a donation, anything. This is a public service from us at the fire department. A thank you back to the people of Lima. So, and then later that night at 5:30 or 6 o'clock is the Honey Falls Fire Department annual Christmas parade, which is quite an extravaganza. If you've never been, I would tell you to go down. It's quite enjoyable to see the units and the departments that come around for a long ways away to support that. I guess that's all I have. Thank you.
A few months ago, you were talking about a study that you guys are doing, like say for a community center. Whatever became of that?
Okay, yeah, I can talk. We've talked about it a little bit. We all know that there is a person in town that has dedicated money to go forward with a community center. Here's the issue. We don't have it all yet. And it is still, we are talking about it, looking into it, Augie, but we figure, again, we talk about $1 million plus, that to build it right and the infrastructure needed is probably going to be $1.25 to $1.5 million. And right now, supposedly going forward, we have pledged somewhere around close to maybe half of that. But half isn't going to get you there. By the time, if we're going to commit, we've got to, and you look at what we're trying to do on these 2 boards. We're trying to save money. Can we always do it? No. But we just can't add $50,000 to $75,000 a year in each budget. It's not going to happen. Let's be real about it. It's not going to happen. Unless we get some big donors to step forward, some businesses to help with it, along with this other money. Would have been nice. We were hoping within a couple of years. Maybe it's still feasible. We have talked. And I know, I've tried to get a hold of Tammy, and I know while there was no heat here, she was keeping residents. Do we know if the building, if that gentleman actually resold the building to the National Child Care Center, whatever they were talking? Do we know that?
So I saw somebody out there doing some maintenance on it the other day. I don't know if it's the old owner or the new one.
Okay.
I only met the new guy the once, then when everybody's bundled up with a hat.
Well, we're trying to somehow find out, and I'll be honest with you, for what it was, I don't know if a lot of people know, it was the old GCC, and it went to auction, and we just had no time to react. And I think it sold for under 300, correct?
Yeah.
So, which 300, you couldn't build this room today, just this room for 300,000. So, it would have been nice. We had kind of talked with this donor, if there would be any possibility other than the park, if this donor would consider, it's been talked about once, and the answer already was no, but we have talked as a group that if we can go back to this person, and if that place is for some reason still available, that would make a fantastic community center, probably with a few little tweaks here and there. But if we could buy something, and you talk about, it's just not the cost of the facility. Let's think about this. You got the first maybe 10 years, very little maintenance. After that, you're gonna start having little things here and there. If you would set, I don't know, just picking a number, 10,000 a year, whatever, aside, if you were to start something like that for a maintenance budget, and then maybe you have to hire a janitor. You know, there's all these contingency things that come into play along with it. It isn't just putting up the building, it's the electric into it, the sewage, and everything else that's gonna have to come with it. And, yeah, it's not a pipe dream by any means, but it's gonna take a little finesse from people to keep working on it to, I don't know, did that answer anything?
Yeah,
I got long-winded here, but.
I was just curious, I know there's been people looking at ideas about a community center and what have you. And, you know, I had suggested that before they go too far into something, I know you guys have been spending a lot of time at that, and you've done a lot of visiting of other places. And I just was curious, you know, what was going on with that.
Yeah.
And I think this is.
I've got to find out. I'll try to find out tomorrow, to be honest with you. I'll go at it again. I was kind of busy today, but trying to find out if that facility is still available. Obviously, he's going to want to make a profit. My goodness, if he wants to make $100,000 profit,
You still got a good deal.
anything under $500,000, right, would be stealing that place. It really would still for.
It would be. The purchase offer was contingent on getting to the planning board. So if he never actually got to the planning board, and
There still might be a chance.
then I don't know that the transaction has gone through.
Yeah. So we will continue to work on it.
Steve?
Well,
What, Jim?
That building did sell and closed recently within the last 3 weeks.
okay, there's our answer right there.
I can see if I can get you the information of the new owner, and I have no idea what their intent was.
Yep.
But I did hear that it sold and sold.
Okay.
Right, and so the assessor will be 2 months before she gets the data back.
Oh,
That-
so
that-
Tammy
that's
wouldn't
our-
have it.
That's
Okay.
our lag.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But thank you for asking. And
And just to add that, once we have a commitment, we can also go out for grants funding. But again, this is no one wants to go into debt for this. We are being very responsible about it. I think everyone would like to see something built. But once we get an established commitment for a percentage, we can then go out for grant funding from the state.
And there has been thought put into this because, you know, we're looking, we go, okay, we do have a lot of space down there. We now legally have an entrance at the south end of it, that the village now, the transfer's been done from the O'Brien family. So that's been done. But on the other hand, we are looking now between 4th of July, the fireworks down there, the open space needed for that, the open space needed for the Civil War reenactment that seems to be growing and catching on here in town, our Pumpkin Festival in October. How much of that open space do we want to rob from ourselves? I mean, I'm not saying we don't do it carefully and plan something out. If that down the road, if that's still going to happen. But we also look, that's open space that a lot of people like, and we can still utilize for other reasons. So, because you start talking about a community center, I don't care how many square feet on one level, I don't know, 1,500 square feet or better, and the driveway and a parking lot to it, and everything else that's going to take away from that open space going into that. So this has got to be a carefully planned out deal, if that's where it's still going to take place someday, rather than maybe GCC or something else. But, all right.
Okay. All right, Sean is not here. The Traffic Safety Board probably meets tomorrow night or something like that. Sean is busy. Be sure to wave as he is going by and plow. All right, then failing anything else, be looking for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Hey, Brian.